Well, a week after the conjecture was that maybe the Dallas Cowboys had fixed some of their problems defensively, they give up a season-worst 44 points today in a blowout loss to the Denver Broncos to fall to 3-4-1 on the year. This team still has not been above 500 at any point this season. And that continues after today's result. This was bad from top to bottom. This wasn't just the defense being bad for once. This was all facets of the Cowboys game did not work today. The Cowboys offense turning in, frankly, their worst performance yet this season.
Yeah, I mean, it was a week ago we stood here, and it was the most complimentary performance we saw the Cowboys play all season, all three phases, the coach speak that you hear. But it was true. It was really one of their most complete games that we had seen in a very long time. But we prefaced that whole commentary last week with it was the Commanders who were down a lot of weapons, and Jaden Daniels got hurt in that game. The Broncos, we knew coming into this week, were a different unit. One of the best defenses in the NFL, an offense that may not have the names of George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, but they've been humming and have a balanced attack. And we saw them absolutely shred the Cowboys defense that we've seen a number of teams do this season. They were not alone, but a lot of the deficiencies on that Cowboys defense showed up again in Week 8. Blown coverages, inability to tackle, just huge wide open lanes for the Broncos to run through. It just felt like they could do whatever they wanted on offense, and outside of an interception in the first quarter by Bo Nix, they pretty much did. So here we are, week to week. It's a week-to-week league, but I think the Cowboys are somewhere closer to what we saw this week than what we saw last week.
Yeah, well, the Broncos are a tough team to figure, though, because you look at their season in totality, their losses are a couple of good losses, a very, very good Colts team and a pretty good Chargers team, both of those losses close. But then you also look at their last 2 weeks prior to today, they barely beat the Jets and had to come back with a heroic comeback to even beat the Giants a week ago. So it was kind of hard to really decide what Broncos team are you going to get today? Right. The Cowboys got the bad side of that coin. They scored 13 points against the New York Jets 2 weeks ago, and the Cowboys give up 44.
That's a lot of points. How many points have they given up in their losses?
Ooh,
the Cowboys.
It's going to be.
Look it up. It's a lot.
It's 30 plus, and I think each of the losses, at minimum 30. They gave up 30 to Carolina in that loss, gave up 31 to the Bears. Oh, I'm sorry. They only gave up 24 to the Philadelphia Eagles in the opener, which feels like an eternity ago. That was actually one of their defense's better performances this year. But then, yes, 40 in the tie against Green Bay, and now 44, a season worst 44 points allowed to the Denver Broncos. They had nothing today, and this is a defense that was playing without a lot of their starters in the secondary.
I feel
which
like
absolutely matters and deserves to be said.
Yep.
But Denver wide receivers running completely wide open. Franklin's first touchdown reception in the end zone on what was a 1st and 20, if memory serves. They had a holding penalty that had set Denver back and felt like a scenario where, hey, you got to be able to make something happen here and at least hold them to a field goal.
Yep.
Give your offense a chance to go back and answer. And on 1st and 20, they give up a 24 or something like that yard touchdown pass. And Franklin, there was hardly anybody in the frame when they showed the replay from the end zone angle. You couldn't hardly see a single Cowboys defender in the area. 25-yard touchdown pass. There were multiple instances today where they were just running completely wide open.
So the Cowboys give up 44 points. It could have been more. I mean, there was a...
If it needed to be. If it needed to be.
There were balls hitting Broncos receivers in the chest in the end zone that they weren't coming up with. They could have easily put up a 50 spot on the Cowboys defense. I'm having trouble trying to put a positive spin on this defense moving forward outside of just some guys getting healthy, which maybe that will bring the margin down to 34 points given up. But this is a significant...
The Marvion Overshone, can you take 10 points off of this and give the offense a chance?
This is a significant gap. And you know what's funny about this is Cowboys scored 24 points. Granted, 7 of those came from Joe Milton to Jalen Tolbert in garbage time. 17 points on the road against the Broncos. It's not a lot. It's probably not enough to win, but it's not like you're getting goose-egged. So the offense, while it was probably one of their worst performances of the season, Dak Prescott had his four-game streak of no turnovers. He had that snapped with a couple of interceptions that were really bad. I thought his first one late in the first half was unnecessary. They had a chance to get a field goal there at the end of the first half, or at least line up to attempt a really long shot with the best kicker in the NFL. It'll give them some sort of momentum.
They were already in range at that
you had
point.
no timeouts, and you're throwing that deep ball to Ferguson into double coverage, and I didn't like some of the decision making there. And really the decision, they just shot themselves in the foot so much in that first half. It kind of set themselves back and forced them to play catch up this entire game. I mean, they had a chance to really kind of assert themselves early on off the turnover. They get down to the 1 yard line. It's 2nd and 1.
Yeah.
You got Javonte Williams back there. I don't care how good that defense you're going up against. Just give it right back to him and go score. Instead, they
set
incompletion
the tone with that.
and then a false start, setback, another incomplete, and then you're kicking a field goal when you had the ball at the half-yard line, and that just kind of felt like it took the air out of some of that momentum they had, or at least give your defense a chance to play with a decent lead as opposed to just 3 points. So there were things that on both sides of the ball, I just felt like they could never build any momentum. And when you're playing catch-up, I don't care how good your passing attack is, it makes things a lot easier for the defense.
Some of the decisions they made, some of the play calls that Brian Schottenheimer made seemed to telegraph that they didn't feel like they could run the ball in short spaces against this Denver defense because they made the decision they did on that first possession. Then they had the weird Dak Prescott quarterback sneak when they were down on the 1 yard line. When Javonte Williams, as you have alluded to, as Jim Nantz said multiple times on the telecast, Javonte Williams has been great in those spots this year.
Think back
Why
to the Philly.
are you not turning and handing it off to 33?
Think back to Week 1 against the Eagles in a really strong front. And that's what he does. I felt like they got really cute with play calling, and I was a bit surprised that Jake Ferguson went catchless on National Tight Ends Day. I mean, this is the
only got 1 target.
I know, it's crazy. 1 target, 0 catches for the tight end who was leading the NFL in receptions and touchdowns at the position through Week 7. And so, granted, the Broncos are really good at defending tight ends. A lot of that data showed up heading into this matchup. It was probably going to be a tougher matchup for him, but to go catchless, it just felt like that takes out an underneath option. Turpin wasn't really moving the needle underneath as much as he could have. I was actually surprised that CD and GP both had 7 catches, and that's without playing almost a handful of minutes in the fourth quarter. So
If you had said before the game, CD and George Pickens will both catch 7 balls.
I was like, that's pretty good.
Probably around where you would need them to be.
And granted,
but nobody else caught more than 2.
Yeah, and Broncos shut down corner Pat Surtain, missed some time. He came in and out of the game before eventually leaving, correct? He exited for
left the game right just a little after halftime.
Yeah, it looked like he had something lower body injury, and then it was a shoulder injury. And that still didn't even matter. Even though the Cowboys just kept picking on Riley Moss, the Broncos cornerback, and drew a lot of penalties, but just not enough in this performance. The defense has just so many issues, from depth to scheme not being a right fit, and you just wonder at what point do they just abort and do wholesale changes? It doesn't seem like it, but the longer we go into the season, I do wonder if they get out of playoff contention, if it goes that route, that maybe then they decide to do something.
Jerry Jones said after the game that he is still interested in making a trade, that this doesn't change his opinion on whether or not they should make a trade to try and improve their defense. He said that he does feel like making a trade for one. He was asking, are you really just one player away from being able to play better defense? And he was pretty frank in saying that no, he doesn't think they're only one player away, but he did think it was still worth it to go trade for a player to help salvage this defense because of the fact that that one player could make an impact, and then also he feels as though they are closer than probably the whole rest of the world thinks they are to executing better on the defensive side of the ball. He sees it. I'm not sure if anybody else does.
That's just a lot of words where I'm just trying to figure out. I'm trying to read between the Jerry Jones tea leaves there. And if you're saying that we're not one player away on defense, what does that say about your defense? I mean, now you're needing multiple playmakers. They don't have necessarily the desire to go out and acquire that. And then even if you do, who's to say that there'll be a fit in this system? I mean, it's just all the narrative going into the season after the Micah Parsons trade was to get better at stopping the run. And they just have been so bad at stopping the run outside of last week and a half of football against the Eagles. It's just they're struggling on all 3 levels of the defense. The linebackers look like they're in mud. It's just sorry state. DeMarvion Overshown's return, which may come in Monday night against the Raiders, is probably the most likely.
That's what he said he's targeting, yeah. Dallas
maybe
has to get through at least one more game without him.
Right. So maybe that'll give them a boost.
If you can't beat the Arizona Cardinals
at home on Monday
there's
night,
no real point in talking about any of this. If you can't win that game, what are we talking about?
You got to win the next. You got to win the next 2. The Cowboys.
I felt like coming into the Washington game, they needed to win their next 4, and that included today.
Really?
To realistically be in a position where they could make the final stretch of the season matter, because it's Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, Vikings. Vikings look a little less. Maybe you toggle
Vikings are not
the Vikings
scary
with the Broncos, because the Broncos have proven to be a pretty good football team. So maybe you flip-flop those 2. Maybe the Vikings steps in for the Broncos in your winnable game bucket if you want to trade one for the other. And then could you beat 2 of your last 3, Chargers, Commanders, Giants?
Does 9-8 get them in?
Well, they can't even get to 9-8. They would be 8-8-1.
That's right, 8-1.
9-7-1 might do it. That seems but I mean, you look around the NFC. Now, the NFC is also going to beat itself up over the back half of the season. But right now in the NFC, or at least coming into this week, you have to have 3 losses or less right now. You got to be 5-3 or better to even be in.
And the tiebreakers are not going to help their cause at all. If Chicago's somewhat in the hunt, I don't know if Carolina.
The good thing is they're not going to have to worry about the tiebreakers because of the tie.
That's true.
Those are going to get. Unless somebody else has a tie along the way,
it's going to be.
They're going to be 9.5 and 7.5, or 6.5 and 10.5, or somewhere in between that range. They need to win the next 2 at minimum and get themselves back finally above 500. If that were the case, you're 5-4-1 going into that murderer's row: Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, Vikings. Could you win these next 2 and find yourself with some momentum?
If they don't beat the
an
Cardinals,
emotional game against the Eagles, where you're playing a division rival who, with Dak Prescott on his home field against a division opponent, is a pretty good recipe historically. Could you steal that game and be 6-4-1 going into the Kansas City game?
You could
even if you lose those two, you're 6-6-1. Can you beat Minnesota that 7? Can you win 2 of those last 3 and get like that? You are threading a serious needle right now already because of this loss, and really because of the Panthers loss.
Well, you look
the
at
Panthers loss and the Bears loss are the killers.
On the bright side, they're at home against the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Chargers, and those are 3 of their 4 toughest games remaining. So if you want to look at the home field advantage factor, they are better at home. They're 1-4 on the road this year, against some teams that are not really that great. I mean, Bears and Panthers, I guess, are in the mix, but
barely.
Yeah,
barely.
I mean, this is.
Those are not good football teams. Those are teams that if you're going to be a playoff team, you should have been able to beat. They needed to be coming out of this game.
It just seems
6-2, probably.
It just seems like they make every opponent's offense look like all pros.
They make every quarterback look like Peyton Manning.
Russell Wilson got benched the week after playing the Cowboys. That was after having a near career day. It's not good. Now I don't know.
I don't know. 2016 Russell Wilson.
I don't know if getting the starters back is going to help. Maybe get some depth players back.
Not a whole lot of evidence to suggest getting the starters back is going. And not on the defensive side of the ball. They're the same guys that were getting baptized 3 weeks ago. DeMarvion Overshown is the one glimmer of hope for this. DeMarvion Overshown
he's great, but
and any possible trade are the glimmers of hope for the Dallas Cowboys.
But coming off that knee injury and expecting him to be
I know.
Full
it's
bore
unfair.
Again,
it's completely unfair, but it's the only thing they've got.
I want to make one note about Dak Prescott because I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot of Cowboys fans who the moment he throws an interception.
And they just right out of the woodwork.
He obviously
told you.
Yeah, right. He obviously did not help the cause with his 2 picks today.
It was his worst game of the year.
The second pick was you're already down like 1 trillion points and you're just trying to make something happen. Not a good throw. The first one I had more issue with just in that moment. Mm-hmm. But to put as much blame on him as you're going to put on the defense, I feel like would be unfair to him and the offense because for the most part, even though this was not a good day for them, their defense is not helping them. It has not helped them all season. It is so hard to play come-from-behind football when the defense knows you have to be pass first. And this offense, it's got all the elements to be the best in football, which it's been through the first 7 games. But the defense has to just be average. I've said it all last Sunday. If the defense can just be top 2/3, they're a playoff team.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're not even top 3/4. They're bottom 2, probably dead last. I don't know. Them and the Bengals are just in a race to be
bottom
the
2
worst.
and not 2. Yeah, they're awful.
Yeah.
Blaming Dak Prescott right now is like saying your car sucks because the AC went out when, by the way, you're missing 3 tires. Like, the issue is the defense still here. He was not good today. I think it's absolutely fair to say he was not good today. He made some bad decisions. He made some bad throws. The throw he tried to throw to the left sideline. Now, this was also a great read by, I forget the defensive end for the Broncos that read the block from Terrence Steele and backed off and knocked the ball down. That was also a terrific read by the defensive player, but not a good throw, not a good decision. He had moments today where he was not good. That's fair, and if you want to go nuts saying that at home, be my guest. But really, what are we talking about here? Where are we actually laying the blame for this football game and certainly for this football season?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's lunacy to go anywhere else.
I found this notable, and we were talking about it off camera before we got going here. CeeDee Lamb came out for a few plays early on in the game, kind of on key possessions. I think there was a 3rd down, 3rd and medium, and he was out and on the sideline for it. And like those are critical down situations early in the game when you want your top player on the field to at least draw attention or at least draw the double team, which he was seeing a lot from the start of the game. And so I we'll ask CD this week unless he gets asked about it after the game, about that. Was it just a rep deal? Did he need a breather? Altitude for a lot of these guys, and CD and the Cowboys have not played in Denver. CD specifically had not played in Denver before, and so I do wonder, maybe that played a role when you just get going like that. Are you reading comments?
We're on YouTube right now, which is not something we ordinarily do with this postgame show, but we toggled to YouTube today since we're not on KFAA, and the poll question is the Cowboys season over? And of the respondents there have been so far, 90% say yes.
How many votes? 21?
21.
Get those votes in.
Which is as many as are currently watching on the WFA YouTube channel. Thank both of you for being here tonight. 44-24, the final score. Cowboys fall to 3-4-1 on the year, 3.5 and 4.5 on the 2025 season.
I wish it was a more positive breakdown, but
instead,
give
there
us
were
something
a whole
to be
bunch
positive
of negative
about.
breakdowns.
Yeah. Speaking of negative breakdowns,
Joe Milton, 3 for 4, 58 yards, a passer rating of 156.2.
Our Cowboys player of the game. Oh no! Hey, actually, shout out Joe Milton for that, because he kind of struggled.
It was a great throw,
He
man.
struggled a bit in the
throw.
preseason. I think that was good for his confidence.
It's one of the best things he's put on tape yet as a Cowboy.
Dime, yeah.
That's probably the single best throw he has put on tape as a Dallas Cowboy.
Incredible.
Not bad. Anything else we got to hit before we sign off the air here? There's not a whole lot. It's the same story with this team over and over again.
Next game, it's going to be a Monday night game against the Cardinals at home, and I'm in full agreement with you on that one. If they don't beat the Cardinals at home in that game, and you go into the bye week at whether they be 3-5-1, I just don't know how you recover from that with the
you're
with the
toast
schedule.
if that's the case.
So it's hyperbole, and not technically an elimination game, but I think if you're a logical, reasonable sports and Cowboys fan, you know that week 9? Week 9 is a must-win for the Dallas Cowboys. Must win.
Cowboys are 3-4-1. The Stars are down 2-0. The
Mavs
are 0-2. It's a rough time in Dallas sports right now. Maybe the week to come will bring you some positivity. Thanks for joining us on the postgame show. We will see you for Monday Night Football.